어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상 BFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
About 50 days until the June 3rd local elections, and this is the first time voters nationwide will be heading to the polls since President Lee Jae-myung took office last year. It is in essence a barometer of how the public is currently feeling towards the central government. The opposition People Power Party currently holds 12 of the country's 17 metropolitan seats. Well, if the Democratic Party is able to flip some of those regions, it would give the ruling party control over both the National Assembly and the local governments. So we're going to delve more into all of this. Let's kick off another Monday morning together. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, April 13th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. And yes, it's Monday again. So hopefully you don't have the Monday blues. But if you do, hopefully we can get through this morning together. So let's talk about the local election here in Busan, because the Busan mayoral ticket has been confirmed as lawmaker 전재수 versus incumbent mayor Park Hyung-jun. So the opposition People Power Party on Saturday confirmed Mayor Park Hyung-jun as its candidate in its primaries. And the party announced that Park Hyung-jun won the primary against lawmaker Chu Jin-woo, and Park will officially become the party's nominee once the PPP Supreme Council confirms this later today. So the two-term mayor is running for a third term with an emphasis on being an experienced administrator, saying that he would turn Busan into a world-class city via his social media statement. Park will go head-to-head against 북구-갑 Representative Democratic Party's 전재수. Chun, who was also the former Oceans and Fisheries Minister, is highlighting the relocation of the Oceans Ministry to Busan as one of his biggest achievements. And the candidacy is confirmed for the two major parties. However, there are still some variables. For lawmaker Chun, he had faced, if you remember, this issue, a judicial risk involving bribery accusations from the Unification Church, which the prosecution recently dismissed due to no rights of prosecution. The next variable is for him to resign from his current parliamentary seat, the only DP seat in Busan, which he has pledged to do by the end of the month. And as for Mayor Park Hyung-jun, his next task after the primaries will be to expand his support-based politics during this time. We'll continue to cover everything that happens and report to you, the waivers out there. In the meantime, it's time for our text topic for this Monday morning. So it is related to a story later on as usual. So here we go. Do you have any assignment or maybe project from your school days that you still remember? Like this one, I will, remember for the rest of my life. It really stands out to you. And it could be for various reasons. It was like amazing. You did so well in something, or maybe you bombed it. I don't know. 자, 나의 학창 시절 기억에 남는 과제. 혹은 우리 아이 학교에서 이런 것도 하는구나. 논란 과제. I don't know. In terms of the 논란, it could be a good or maybe not so great. Like, why are you doing this? Or like, oh, wow, you guys are learning this? So something like that. And you can send in your messages to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산 영어 방송, to find our channel. Subscribe, log in, and chat with other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on Kakao Talk as well. Find us first, BEFM, add us as a friend, and then you can send in your messages, photos too if you like. The ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan on the radio here in Busan, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. And like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube as we speak. Come check us out. And we're available on the BEFM app and also the Patbang app. So let's look ahead to our Monday morning together. We have now in Busan with Jian. Haley's coming in with top stories for hour number 1, Wagga Tea Time in hour number 2. And then we have a profile check with Vasana. And then Jian will be joining me again in hour number 2 for news in depth. For our special interview, we're going to talk about the talks between the U.S. and Iran. This is still the top international story, so we're going to give you the latest from our expert. That's coming up in hour number 2. I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06, and this is news overview. Changwon to maintain emergency posture over Middle East conflict. The presidential office said yesterday that it will maintain its emergency response system as the United States and Iran failed to reach an agreement in their high-level peace talks over the weekend. Two firefighters killed in warehouse fire. 2 firefighters died while trying to extinguish the blaze at a cold storage warehouse in Wando County, Jeonnam Province yesterday. Government to roll out cash stipends this month. The government will start handing out cash assistance for the bottom 70% of income earners starting later this month as part of efforts to ease the financial strain caused by rising oil prices. President reiterates human rights commitment over Israel issue. President Lee Jae-myung reaffirmed his stance on respecting universal human rights following his posting of a video of an Israeli soldier mistreating a Palestinian boy that has prompted a response from Israel. Trump says U.S. to blockade Strait of Hormuz. Iran says it will not surrender to threats. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. Navy will start blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz after ceasefire negotiations between the U.S. and Iran fell through in Pakistan. This was News Overview. It's time for Now Busan. We have Jian in the studio. Let's see how she's doing. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Yes. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, did you?
It was restful. I got some work done, but overall, very, very relaxing weekend.
Great.
Yes. I want to hear about any school projects or assignments that you still remember.
So I think it was when I was in middle school. Every year, all my English teachers wanted us to sing an English song, a pop song.
Okay.
Together.
Oh, all together?
All together.
And
we always had to do the after school thing to record a video singing together. but always, it was so much fun.
Do you remember even one of the songs or any of the songs?
One song that I can remember was An Umbrella by Rihanna.
Ah,
Yes.
really? Oh, so it's very modern though still.
Yes, yeah.
I heard these days like one of the most popular songs. Like I asked my my nephew, and they always learn like, is it Lemon Tree?
Oh,
That's
Lemon
a very
Tree.
common song.
That's must to
chosen.
learn a song
Right,
for
right.
elementary school
For
students.
elementary,
Yeah, like
right,
the very
right.
first pop song.
Definitely.
Yes.
So I wonder if that's still going on for everybody. But anyhow, thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into some local news. Energy instability from the Middle East is affecting local industries.
Yes.
So what is the government doing to help?
The government has approved a supplementary budget for the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries to support fisheries and small shipping firms facing rising fuel costs. The total budget stands at about 144.8 billion won, covering energy relief, livelihood stability, and industry support.
I see. So where will most of the funding go?
A large portion will be used to ease the burden of high oil prices. Fuel-linked subsidies will help offset rising costs for fishing vessels and coastal cargo ships.
What about direct financial support for fishermen?
Around 33 billion won in policy funds will be provided to fishermen struggling with higher operating costs. This is aimed at stabilizing their business operations.
Yes.
Support is also included for small carriers affected by disruptions near the Strait of Hormuz. Emergency funds will help firms with only 1 or 2 vessels stay afloat.
I see. Well, any measures for residents or passengers?
Yes, the government will temporarily support coastal passenger services to ensure stable transportation for island residents. Additional funding has also been set aside to support seafood exports.
I see. So definitely affecting so many industries right now, this conflict. All right, next up, Busan is launching a new tourism initiative focused on wellness. What's this about?
That's right. Busan City and the Busan Tourism Organization are inviting proposals for wellness-themed tourism products. The goal is to combine wellness experiences with local attractions and expand into global markets.
So what kind of programs are they looking for?
Each program must include at least one designated wellness site in Busan. They should also feature local experiences such as food, culture, nature, or marine activities.
So give us examples of these wellness sites.
Of course, they include places like Aupsan Mountain Forest, Pomosa Temple, and many more. These spots offer a mix of nature, relaxation, and cultural experiences.
I see. And how will selected projects be supported?
5 projects will be chosen with up to 25 million won provided per project. This covers development, operation, and marketing costs. Selected programs will be promoted through global online travel platforms.
Well, of course, wellness has been a theme for many years. So incorporating that's smart. All right, next up, a major UNESCO event is coming to Busan.
Yes.
So tell us about this and what's being done to promote it.
Promotional activities are ramping up for the 48th UNESCO World Heritage Committee session in July. An official video and poster have been released ahead of the 100-day mark.
Ooh, so what message does this promotional video deliver?
It highlights the value of world heritage as a shared asset of humanity. It also emphasized the importance of global cooperation in preserving these sites.
Well, what about the poster design? And we do have an image of it on our YouTube channel right now.
The poster symbolically reflects the beauty of traditional Korean architecture. It incorporates elements like pillars, 단청 patterns, and roof tiles.
So where can people see these promotions?
They will be displayed at major locations, including museums and train stations. The videos will also be released online through official channels starting mid-April.
Right. So once again, building up to this huge 48th UNESCO World Heritage Committee. Okay, meeting. Next up, let's talk about this. Busan has been recognized for its library policy. So
Yes.
what's the achievement?
That's right. Busan City was selected as an outstanding institution in the National Library Development Evaluation. It received a top award from the National Library Committee under the president.
Okay, well, this is good news. However, we need to know what led to this recognition.
Of course, the city built a strong cooperation system among 57 public libraries. This helped improve both policy effectiveness and on-the-ground implementation.
I see. Any standout projects?
The Community Archive project was recognized as a best practice. It preserves Busan's history by collecting and digitizing local records. More than 5,000 historical materials have been discovered and turned into a database. They are now available online for public access.
I see. So in terms of the library vision itself, how is Busan expanding this?
The city is strengthening its global presence by hosting the 2026 World Library Congress.
Yes.
It is also promoting inclusive programs and innovative library spaces for all citizens.
That's right. So that's coming up later this year. We'll tell you about it as it comes closer. And now our final story today is about some spring news from Busan.
Yes.
So it's not about the cherry blossoms because they're almost all gone now, but
Right.
tulips are about to bloom, right?
Yes, around 70,000 tulips are expected to be in full bloom at Hwamyeong Eco Park this week.
Okay.
The flower garden features 17 different varieties, creating a vibrant spring landscape.
Yes, yes. And we have a visual of red, scarlet red tulips. So beautiful on a Monday morning. So it does sound like a wonderful spot for a visit. What can people expect?
It marks the beginning of a seasonal flower displays across the Nakdong River Eco Parks. Visitors can enjoy changing scenery throughout spring as more flowers come into bloom.
So it definitely looks worth it. Thank you for going over all the local news, and we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Jian.
I'll see you soon.
All right, and I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It's now 7:16. Here's your traffic report. The Dongso overpass is congested from Hwangryong Ramp to Kaegum. There's backup on Gwanmun-daero from Bangam Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. It's busy on Mandok-daero from Sukdeung to Deokjeon intersection, and it's slow moving on Pyeonglo going away from the city right around the Wondong Ramp. Currently, it is 14 degrees Celsius here in Busan under partially cloudy skies with a daytime high to go up to 21 degrees. So across the nation, a balmy, almost early summer-like day with a daytime high going up to 26 degrees Celsius in some areas. There is still a large temperature difference in the inland areas, so please take care of your health. This was your traffic and weather. This is 소문의 낙원 by 악뮤.
잠깐 앉아요. 따뜻한 스프와 고기가 있어요. 지친 나그네요. 도시에선 절대 알 수 없는 게 있죠.
It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this a thing? Like Blackpink?
I was going to say, are we Blackpinking again?
Every time we're wearing pink, you're wearing black for some
I
reason.
wear a lot of black.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, how was your weekend?
It was good. My nephew was in town.
Yes.
So we had to, family kids fun activities. We went
I
to
saw the picnic.
Yeah, we went on a picnic yesterday to Citizens Park because there's a big grocery store. We got a ton of food and I ran some laps around the park. And then we, killed two birds. And then we
Yes.
went to the 해양 박물관, the Marine Museum in Yeongdo. It's great.
Oh, really?
It was really
Oh,
great.
I
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
check
They
it
have
out.
like a little aquarium. And yeah, very
Nice,
cool.
nice. Well, text topic time. So, any projects or assignments that really stand out to you?
Well, I did work on my nephew's PowerPoint project with him
What?
yesterday.
Really?
And I'm like, you're in the 4th grade. Like we did like trifold boards and like we were printing stuff out and cutting stuff and like gluing it onto the board.
Right.
But yeah, and then just how like high tech stuff
Right.
is these days. And I guess for kindergartens, my friends were telling me that we used to bring in photos of family. They bring in videos. They send, the parents have to send
yes.
the teachers videos of the family. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. And then, but then in the States, like, did you ever have to take care of a fake baby?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a fake baby, and they were actually pretty realistic even back in the day.
Right. I
Yes.
never took that class, but I had friends who did. And then it was things were just very hands-on and real lifey. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to carry on around babies now. Okay. All right then.
Yeah, we did it in health class, I remember. It was all about the reproductive system.
Yeah. And
so-
the responsibilities
Yes.
of parenting.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. We're going to jump into our top stories. The National Assembly last week passed the 26.2 trillion won extra budget.
Right, so let's get into the detail as the parties passed a 26.2 trillion won budget bill to support the people's livelihoods from the impact of the ongoing war in the Middle East. So this came 10 days after the government submitted the bill, and it came in a late night session. Lawmakers voted 214 in favor, 11 against, and 19 abstained.
Right.
So the nay votes came from some of the members of the People Power Party, PPP, and the Reform Korea Party.
I see. So what's included in this budget?
Right. So the core of the budget is the 4.8 trillion won for the high fuel price damages support. So that is essentially giving between 100 and 600,000 won to some 32.56 million people who are in the lower 70% of income levels.
I see.
So the government goal, as you said, is to send out the first round of stipends to those in the lowest 2 income classes. The bill also has 4.2 trillion won in compensating oil companies for their losses from the ongoing fuel price cap system. And as the government is encouraging more public transportation usage, the budget includes funding for a temporary 50% discount to the transportation K-Pass. The parliament also added 200 billion won to the government's bill on NAFTA import support.
I see. Well, with the budget officially underway, can we get into the details about those financial stipends?
Right, so I know that's what the people are most curious
Yes.
about. So again, it goes out to the lower 70% of the income earners in the country. The specific cut line, the specific threshold has not been announced yet, but as it's almost always been, will likely be based upon your national health insurance. The first round will go out to those in the basic income and lower income classes and single parent households on April 27th. As for the rest of it, the money will go out starting on May 18th.
Right. So if everybody wants to know how much per, person within, the groups.
Because that 100,000 to 600,000 won is a big gap. So
Yes.
if a person is on basic welfare, 기초생활수급자, they'll receive 550,000 won, 55만 원. And those in the second lowest income bracket, 차상위 계층 and single parent households, 450,000 won. So that's for everybody in these income brackets. But if these individuals live in non-capital areas,
Right.
they'll get an extra 50,000 won. For the rest in the 70% group, those who live in the capital area will get the lowest amount, 100,000 won. Non-capital area, 150,000 won. Also, priority support region in population declining areas will get 200,000 won, and the special support regions, 250,000 won.
So I assume you have to sign up to receive this?
You do, and as always, it comes in priority priority, and there will be a rotating system.
Okay.
The first group, lower income and single parents, you have to sign up between April 27th and May 8th. On or offline.
Okay.
For the rest of the people, May 18th and July 3rd. During the first week, where there is expected to be a higher volume of traffic,
Sure.
a 5-day rotation system will apply. That's based on the final digit of your birth year. So Monday, if your birth year ends in 1 and 6 or 6. Tuesday, 2 or 7. Wednesday, 3 or 8. Thursday, 4 or 9. And finally, Friday, 5 or 0.
Right.
Also, if you want to get this onto your credit card or check card, you can apply via your card company's website, app, or call center, otherwise to your local community center.
All right. Well, people always ask, so I have to ask on behalf of the foreign nationals, are they included?
We are the English broadcasting
Yes.
system. So on principle, foreign nationals are not included.
Okay.
However, there are exceptions for individuals who have strong connections to Korean citizens. So what would they be? Those who are on the same resident registration with at least one Korean national, so family members.
Okay.
If you are registered on the national health insurance, including dependents, and those who are on the F5, F6 or the F2-4 visas who are also on the national health insurance plan.
All right. And where can people use this money?
So remember those livelihood stipends that went out last year, basically the same within your jurisdiction. So it has to be within your metropolitan city, so Busan or the province like Gyeongnam, etc.
Yes.
This is to be spent at small businesses that reported under 3 billion won in annual profit, including franchises. But you do have to use the money by August 31st.
I see. Thanks for giving us the details. And of course, we'll give reminders when it happens. Well, the war in the Middle East has put the global economy into this sticky situation. And to that end, the Bank of Korea decided to freeze interest rates for the 7th consecutive time.
Right, so we're going to rewind to Friday as the Bank of Korea's Monetary Policy Board decided to hold the benchmark interest rate steady at 2.5%. This was a unanimous decision, marking the 7th consecutive rate freeze.
Yes, yes. Let's get into the reasoning behind this decision.
Well, the BOK's hands are tied because of the war in the Middle East. The war in Iran has caused instabilities across the currency, costs of living, and economic growth.
Yes.
So then there's no reason for the BOK to lower rates, which would inject more money into the market, but then that could cause inflation to go up. And any big gap with the U.S. interest rate would draw money away from the Korean investment market, and that could lead to the devaluation of the Korean won, and we do not want that currency rate going down any further.
Right.
But on the other side, raising the interest rate also not an option right now either, because that would strike a blow to the already stagnant economy. The government is trying to boost demand spending, or at least make up the losses via the extra budget that we just talked about.
Right.
So with all of these uncertainties ongoing, the BOK said it'll have to monitor both the cost of living and growth based on the Middle East situation under the BOK's upcoming new leadership.
Ah, yes. And speaking of which, this was a final rate setting meeting under current BOK Governor Lee Chang-yong, right?
Right. So BOK Governor Lee Chang-yong's 4-year term runs out this month on April 20th. So to that end, he spoke to the press about his tenure, the state of the country's monetary policy, and his successor. So Lee said that it is undeniable that inflation risks are higher. However, when he was asked about stagflation, he said at this point, the possibilities of a stagflation are low. What is that? That's kind of the worst of both worlds kind of a scenario where the economy isn't growing, but at the same time, prices are still going up.
Right.
So we definitely don't want that. Regarding housing prices in the capital area, Governor Lee said that it is hard to say that the prices are fully in a stable period, as real estate prices in and around Seoul have been going up a little bit.
Yes.
However, he expressed that the real estate issue must be resolved for the sake of wealth polarization and an efficient distribution of wealth.
Right. Well, he also made some, I guess, reflections on his tenure.
It is time to do that. So Lee said that he has no regrets about his rate-setting decisions in the last 4 years. But regarding any regrets, he said that his comment about overseas retailers or retailers who are making overseas investments, 서학개미, is something he kind of regrets saying. What was that in November of last year? That was when the currency rate was going up rapidly. He said that so many young people are investing in overseas stocks, and maybe he thought the reason was because they thought it was the cool thing to do so, alluding, not outright, but alluding that the high currency rate back then was partially due to these investments.
I see. Yes, yes. Well, what did the outgoing BOK governor say about his successor?
Right, so his successor, Shin Hyun-song, he addressed the fact that 98% of Shin Hyun-song's reported financial assets were foreign assets. That has come under controversy. Well, Lee said that Shin's patriotism will be bigger than his foreign assets.
Okay.
That maybe it is going overboard to bring in, unquote, international talent and worry about his foreign assets. So Shin's academic background and professional background is quite global. He was a professor at Princeton University, the London School of Economics, and went to Oxford University.
Yes.
He's also served at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
Yes, yes. So we shall see with the new BOK governor. All right, now let's talk about the upcoming June 3rd local elections. Party nominations are starting to pour in for the governors and mayoral races.
Absolutely. So you, of course, covered the Busan race, but let's go across the country. So 5 gubernatorial and mayoral races have been confirmed for the 2 major parties.
Right.
We're going to start in the capital area. We have in Incheon, Democratic Party lawmaker Park Chan-dae. He represents one of the Incheon districts. And People Power Party, PPP's Yoo Jung-bok, who is the incumbent governor.
Right.
Going over to Gangwon, we have former 4-term lawmaker Woo Sang-ho of the Democratic Party going against PPP's sitting Gangwon governor Kim Jin-tae. And now on to kind of jumping over the central area, which still has some races going.
Right.
Onto the southeast area, Ulsan, we have Ulsan's lawmaker Kim Sang-uk going against PPP Ulsan mayor, Kim Do-kyun. Kim Do-kyun, Ulsan lawmaker Kim Sang-uk, of course, being from the DP. Gyeongnam DP's former governor Kim Kyung-soo will be going against PPP current governor Park Wan-soo. And finally, as you said, DP lawmaker 전재수 in Busan going up against PPP current mayor, Park Kyung-jun.
Yes, and speaking of lawmaker Chun Tae-soo, his bid for Busan, Busan's mayor's seat, also affects his parliamentary seat.
Right, so it's kind of a domino because
Right.
he is the sitting lawmaker for Busan's Pukgu Kap district. That is the only blue, the DP seat in Busan.
Right.
So Chun would have to resign and he would put that seat up for the by-election. That means the DP could risk losing its only seat in Busan. So Chun told reporters earlier this month that he will step down from his position by April 30th. That is crucial because that is the deadline for re-elections and by-elections to be held come June 3rd. So that means he needs to vacate his seat by the 30th in order for the residents of Pukgu's Kap district to be able to vote on a new lawmaker in the June 3rd elections.
Okay.
Otherwise, that seat will remain empty for one more year.
Okay. So we'll see and follow through with that story. And now let's talk about this, what's been happening, the U.S.-Iran negotiations and, of course, the aftermath as well.
Right. So the talks between the U.S. and Iran in Islamabad went on for marathon 21 hours, but they yielded no results. The U.S. side was led by Vice President J.D. Vance, who arrived with a massive 300-person delegation. On the other hand, the Iranian delegation arrived a day earlier, but in their plane, significantly emptier than 300, but they carried photos of the children who were killed in that U.S. strike at a primary school in early days of war for a very pointed message.
Yes. Well, do we know what happened during the talks?
Right. So what we know so far is that both sides first met separately with the mediators, Pakistani representatives, to engage constructively. There were face-to-face trilateral meetings, U.S., Iranian, and Pakistani representatives. Negotiations went on through Saturday night on to Sunday morning. Of course, very little is known about what happened behind closed doors.
Right.
But we do know that early Sunday morning, an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson released a statement saying that the talks were intensive and they called on Washington to hold back from excessive demands and unlawful requests. U.S. Vice President Vance held a news conference shortly afterwards saying that the U.S. has made its red lines clear. That seems to be the nuclear weapons development, but Iran had not agreed to the terms.
I'm also curious, how did U.S. President Donald Trump respond to all of this?
Interestingly, President Trump was actually at a UFC fight when the talks fell through, and he stayed silent for some time. And then the Truth Social post came, and then they have been coming. So he wrote Sunday morning local time that the U.S. will impose a naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, and that they will continue to clear mines from the strait in order to ensure a safe passage for ally ships.
Yes.
In the same post, President Trump said that he's instructed the U.S. Navy to interdict, which means to intercept and ban movements of any ships that have paid tolls to Iran.
Interesting. And of course, we'll have more on this with our expert coming up in our special interview. But thank you for going over the top stories. And we will check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. So this is our producer with her wicked sense of humor. This is Go by Blackpink.
I'm on a mission. I'm in control. I want your body. I want your soul. Here to the rescue. I'm number one. You're God an angel. Your kingdom come. Not sure to beat on my drum. 'Cause when I call you, you're gonna come. Holding position, it's gonna blow. You only moving when I say so. Go get it, I'ma go get it. Never gon' set it for second. I need a gold medal. Get up on the float, tell me when to go. No slow jams, pumping through the speakers when I do my go-go dance. Oh nah, I go when I wanna go. I'm so gone, go reckless, go off. Like what could go wrong? I'm going all in. You should know that's my go-to. My whole crew with me. If I go, then they go too. Beat up my drum. 'Cause when I call you, you're gonna come. Hold in position. It's gonna blow. You only move when I say so. When your heart is broken, maybe darkness on the edge of town. Try to keep it open, baby. Try to let your walls come down. All your frozen, baby. I can make you turn to stone. You can start and be alone, or you could
It is time for Vasana for our profile check. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
It was good. It was peaceful. It was more of exercising my fingers on the keyboard.
Working.
Yeah,
Basically
working.
working.
Yeah, writing,
yes.
writing.
Yeah, I had a lot of that too, Saturday and
exams
yesterday.
are coming up too.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to make my exams. That's what that was.
No,
See,
you
if I
didn't.
don't,
You're preparing to make your exam.
yeah, I'm preparing in my mind because if I don't put stuff like input stuff onto my calendar,
Yeah.
these days it's like there's like multiple stuff
Yes.
that have to get done,
Yeah.
so I forget. Hey, so text topic time.
I
Yes. So, do you have any assignments from your school days that you remember, or maybe even for your
This is
son?
that phrase, latte Maria.
Latte Maria, that stand out to you that like really, because I was mentioning off air, like every year there was like a science fair.
Yep.
And like we had to prep for that, and it was a little stressful towards the end because like you run out of things to do, the solar system, the volcano, and then like you're like, what should I do next?
Lots of I just loved
Projects.
assignments. My favorite one was doing it on Pearl Harbor. So I read 5 books. Then I wrote a 20-page.
How old were you?
11.
11.
Yeah.
Wow, you're studious.
on Pearl Harbor. And science experiments, I enjoyed doing those because you would do the experiment and then you would write you'd write your hypothesis first. Then you'd do the experiment and then
you
you'd
gotta
write
prove
your
your theory.
results.
Right,
and,
right.
They're all fun. I loved studying.
The look of like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's jump into profile.
I'm guessing you weren't.
I don't know. I was always a very, non-science math kind of girl.
What did you like doing then?
Oh, like history, and like I would go off the history,
Yep.
dramas, literature. That I love.
Okay.
Yes. So we just have different strokes. Yes.
For different folks.
folks. Yes. Well, who are we profiling today?
We're going to talk about 3 up-and-coming athletes.
Oh.
One in table tennis from South Korea, a rookie sensation in the NBA,
Ooh.
and a teenage French cyclist.
Okay.
Lighting up one of spring's toughest races. I did have a 4th one, but I think we won't have time for that.
Okay.
So let's start with Shin Yu-bin.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
If you're Korean, if you're in
Yes.
Korea, you know who she is.
You know
right?
who she
Yes.
is. For those who don't know who she is, she's a 2-time Olympic bronze medal winner. Lots of medals from World Cups, World Championships, Asian Games, gold medals from the Asian Games.
Right.
The Hangzhou Games and the Doha World Championships.
Yes.
But it is her generosity that has been making headlines recently.
And we have a visual of her. Oh my gosh, she has so grown up. She's a
Yes.
young lady now. Because, when I first saw her, she still had the, she was a minor. She was a kind of
Still had
childlike.
those
and
cuddly
cute little
toys on
cheeks.
her on her
Yeah,
bag
she was
as
so
well.
cute.
Yeah.
Not that she isn't cute now, but she's a grown lady now, right?
I believe she's 21 now.
Well, she's technically an adult.
She's
Right?
a big girl.
Yes. So
this week,
what happened?
I'm sorry. It was reported that she made a 100 million won donation to buy or distribute 3,125 10-kilogram bags of rice to residents in need through welfare centers and social facilities.
Oh, wow. That's so generous.
Yes, at this age, it's just amazing.
It is.
She actually has quite a few and donated quite a few and helped quite a few people and and agencies.
So it wasn't just like a
one-off.
by the way, a one-time gesture is fine too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in this case, right?
No, she
Yes.
also did it last year as well. Or the previous year in 2024 and 2025. Sorry, and what makes it stand out is that they're not. Detached from her identity as an athlete. She was a model for Tangjin's Henaru rice brand. And so that's where that started.
I see.
But on top of that, she's been giving money to Aju University Hospital. She donated 80 million to that.
Wow.
So it's not small change. It's not chump change. She's also been giving lots to other hospitals, children, youth sports. So I was having a conversation the other day with a friend, like all these athletes getting $324 million contracts, not $1 contracts.
Contracts.
And 400 and 500. What do they really need that much money?
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they?
Yeah, but it's
Right.
not up to them to help society. It's up to the governments, obviously. But she has
it's a
decided,
choice.
Yeah,
but
it is a choice.
she has made a conscious choice
Yeah.
to give back to society. And, and if she didn't, nobody would be like, why aren't you giving?
No, of course
But on
not.
the other hand, she continues to do so. And that's why we're talking about her today,
Yes.
right?
So bringing it back to this week, although I said it was her philanthropy or all this that is making the headlines, she also made headlines in the recent ITTF World Cup in Macau. That's the table tennis championships.
Yes.
She became the first South Korean woman to win a singles medal.
Oh, really?
The first.
Oh,
Think
that's
about
amazing
that.
then.
Ever.
Yes.
Because you can guess which country dominates. And she did this by beating one of those. It's Chen Xingtong. She's amazing. She's world number 3, and she beat her.
Wow.
In the bronze medal match.
So that's pretty amazing.
She also almost made it to the gold medal match, but just lost out by 1 set.
Oh.
So yeah, she's amazing.
Well, congratulations to Shin Yu-bin
축하합니다.
for her, on the table tennis, of course, her achievements there.
Yes.
But it just has a human being as well.
Correct.
Yes? Yes.
So when you look at Shin Yu-bin, it's not just talent.
Right.
It's how young she was.
Yes,
when
yes.
the spotlight hit, as you mentioned before. And as I say, she's only 21, but it seems like
forever.
She's been
We've
around
seen her
forever.
right.
And that raises a bigger question. What does it mean to grow up in elite sports today?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah. It does.
It's tough. No, I paused because my son went through the system in Korea.
Yeah.
It's a tough system
in football?
in basketball. So in whatever sport it may be,
Yep.
in whatever country, for every country there's a different kind of sports culture.
Yes.
But I mean, here in Korea, it's a tough system.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Speaking of tough systems,
Yes.
my friend just texted me saying Tottenham are going down.
I know they're in relegation.
Yes.
I stopped watching.
Anyway,
Yes.
so what does it mean to grow up in elite sports today? Because in basketball, going to basketball.
Yes.
That's the second person I'm going to cover.
Okay.
Cooper Flagg.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't know if you watch him or not.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
he's
I know
going
of him,
through,
yes.
He's going through that experience right now.
Right.
It's the velocity of his rise and the burden of carrying a franchise before most players his age have even finished adjusting to pro speed.
That's right.
So he is 19.
Young.
Yes, I was a
Young.
little skeptical of his talent because he's basically replacing someone that was traded to, do you know this team, the Lakers?
Oh, I think I've heard of them. Are they out in LA?
Yeah, Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
Yes,
so
yes,
he
yes.
replaced Luka Doncic.
Yes.
And I remember hearing that news. I was going, what?
Yeah.
Traded to the Lakers?
Uh-huh.
So he had big shoes to fill, which was a phrase we used last week.
But I mean, he was a baller in college hoops. Everybody knew his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes and no. I watch only my team, which is Alabama. So I didn't really know him until the Final Four when he lost.
Aw. Don't be mean.
So anyway, back to the NBA. He was obviously drafted by Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
And on April 4th, he became the only teenager and by default the youngest player
Yes.
to score more than 50 points in an NBA basketball game.
Amazing.
To be precise, 51 points. And if that wasn't
Amazing.
enough, 2 days later, he followed that up with 45 points, 9 assists and 8 rebounds.
Wow.
And a win over that other team we just mentioned, the Lakers. They beat the Lakers in that
Ouch.
game. In
Yes.
fact, in regard to the record for most points as a teenager, he is first, second, and third on that list.
Wow. So he's top 3.
Yes.
He is a list.
Yes, he is the list.
So
That
he's
could be his
making
nickname.
waves. Yeah.
Could be his nickname, the list.
The list. He is
To
the
put
list.
into perspective, LeBron James, you know him? He's number 7 on that list.
Oh.
And Kevin Durant is number 10.
But Cooper
Cooper, number 1.
is 1, 2, 3.
Number 2, number 3, and
Yes.
number 6. He's 4 times on that top 10 list.
Okay.
So it's not philanthropy for him. It's more about his rise. He has been, his family does donate to Ronald McDonald House because they helped his family when he was young. And so he's been giving back to them a lot. So I'm sure we'll hear more as the years go by. And do we have time for one more?
Yeah, let's squeeze it in.
Let's squeeze in. The
Yes.
last one is a teenager called Paul Seixas.
Oh, who's he?
So he's a French teenager in cycling.
In cycling.
I wanted to talk about Tadej Pogacar because of yesterday, but he's not a teenager anymore. He's very old at 27.
Oh, 27 is old. Well,
27 years old.
old.
So
Who is he?
Who is he? He's one of those people when you look at him, you say, "Watch this kid."
Okay.
So yesterday he won a tour race. Basically,
Ooh,
it was 5 stages, And at 19 years old, he became the youngest winner of that race.
Right.
And because he's French, he is going to be the favorite for the Tour de France this
Tour de
year.
France.
And France have not won this race for 45 years.
Right, and it's called Tour de France.
Called Tour de France. So he is in a French team. Over 50% of his teammates are French.
Yes.
And he is French, obviously. So France are going to be doing everything to make him win this year.
Oh.
So watch this kid. I say definitely watch this. It's Paul Seychelles.
He's one to watch.
Definitely.
Yes, yes. And so, what makes him stand out? What's his story?
It's he has pressure. Just Cooper has a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, taking over from Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
But this guy has the whole French population behind him. Because there's a couple of things the French haven't won yet in regards to big things. One is the Rugby World Cup. They have come runners-up, I think, 3 times.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the other one is they've had Tour de France winners,
Right.
but they haven't had one for a while.
Yes.
So, as I said, the team that signed him was a French team. They even doubled their budget so that they could get more cyclists in to help him.
Okay.
After they realized, this kid is good.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, he has the whole nation cheering for him. So that's a bit of pressure.
That's like the weight of France on your shoulders.
Yes, like Korea in 2002.
I see. So we need to wrap up. So what would you say to wrap up? By the way, this is our final profile check.
Profile check, yeah.
And Vasana is going to come back, but in a different...
Oh, am I?
I had to give that dramatic pause, but coming back with a different segment. So what do you want to say to wrap up today and for just profile check in general?
In general?
Yes.
It's been good to do a deep dive into all these athletes
Yes.
rather than just give the news. I hope our listeners have been enjoying the backstories and the extra bits of information that we give.
Yes.
It's nice to get those little tidbits, those bits of trivia.
Right.
Which
It's
sometimes
been
can
very
be boring, but
No.
hopefully interesting.
Well, thank you so much for another great season, and we'll check back in with you next week in a different capacity. And if you're curious, you're going to have to tune in to find out when Vasana's coming and with what segment. So we'll check in with you. We'll just leave it there, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Vasana.
Bye-bye.
It's time to wrap up hour number 1. We have a song request from Benny. This is Yo Ya by The Classic. I'll be back at 8. Hi, this is Catherine. Can you hear me, Professor?
Hi, I can hear you well.
Okay,
Good morning.
great. Good morning. So, first of all, we're glad we're going to have you for our interview. Can you pronounce your name for me, please?
Sure. It's Hussein Banai.
Hossein Banai.
Perfect.
Okay, got it. Hossein Banai. And what's going to happen is I have a short news segment at the top of the hour, and then we're going to go straight to your special interview. So we're going to be on air with you live 4 minutes past the hour. And then let me check the optics right now with our producer. She says everything looks good. Can you say something for us one more time? We need to check the audio again.
Sure. I can just say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, it sounds good. So if you could leave everything on, everything open, try to remember the spacing, your position right now looks good on camera. And we'll be with you in about 7 minutes. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Hello, my name is Naomi from Tanzania. I came to Busan 5 years ago on a university professor scholarship. When I first came, I was impressed by the variety of tourist attractions, ranging from a number of downtowns, beaches, museums, and Busan has it all. Also, there are some beaches in Tanzania, like Busan, but the beaches here in Busan have more diversity. In Tanzania, the beaches always look the same, but here you can enjoy the charm of each season of beaches and seas throughout the year, which I liked. I also had a chance to introduce Tanzanian food to Busan citizens at one of the Busan's big experts event, Global Gathering. Especially, I found out the similarity between Tanzanian snack, mandazi, which is a deep-fried bun, and Busan hot dog. So, I wish I could bring the whole city of Busan to my hometown once I return to my hometown. Global City Busan, we are in it together. This campaign was brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. This is 8 o'clock Spotlight News. 청와대 to maintain emergency posture over Middle East conflict. The presidential office said yesterday that it will maintain its emergency response system as the United States and Iran failed to reach an agreement in their high-level peace talks over the weekend. Presidential Chief of Staff for Policy Kim Yong-bum presided over an emergency economic review meeting yesterday, where participants agreed that there was a great deal of uncertainty surrounding the economy and called for securing the country's naphtha supply. Meanwhile, Industry Minister Kim Jong-wan said that Saudi Arabia has promised to prioritize oil shipments to South Korea, as Seoul is pushing to dispatch 5 Korean-flagged vessels to a Saudi port. firefighters killed in warehouse fire. 2 firefighters died while trying to extinguish the blaze at a cold storage warehouse in Wando County, Jeonnam Province yesterday. Authorities have tentatively ruled that the 2 firefighters died when oil vapors exploded inside the warehouse and they could not exit. The fallen firefighters have been reported as a 44-year-old father of 3 children and a 30-year-old groom-to-be. Fire authorities said they plan to investigate the exact cause of the blaze. The president said that the government takes the incident very seriously and will make efforts to ensure a safe working environment. Government to roll out cash stipends this month. The government will start handing out cash assistance for the bottom 70% of income earners starting later this month as part of efforts to ease the financial strain caused by rising oil prices. The aid, ranging from 100 to 600,000 won per person, will first reach the lowest income group starting April 27th and expand to the broader eligible group on May 18th. The program is part of a 26.2 trillion won extra budget bill which the National Assembly passed on Friday. President reiterates human rights commitment over Israel issue. President Lee Jae-myung reaffirmed his stance on respecting universal human rights following his posting of a video of an Israeli soldier mistreating a Palestinian boy that has prompted a diplomatic response from Israel. He also shared a report on the Israeli Foreign Ministry's criticism of his remarks, expressing disappointment that Israel had not taken the opportunity to reflect on widespread global concerns over human rights. Seoul's Foreign Ministry expressed regret over what it described as a misunderstanding by Israel, saying Lee's comments reflected an expression of his convictions regarding universal human rights. Trump says U.S. to blockade Strait of Hormuz. Iran says it will not surrender to threats. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. Navy will start blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz after ceasefire negotiations between the U.S. and Iran fell through in Pakistan. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said that it will block maritime traffic going in and out of Iran starting at 10 a.m. on Monday Eastern Time. Iran, in the meantime, said that it had very good initiatives to show goodwill in the talks, but added that it would not bow to any threats. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for a special interview on this Monday morning. As you just heard in Spotlight News, the United States and Iran held marathon negotiations in Islamabad, Pakistan, lasting about 21 hours from April 11th to the 12th, but ended without a deal. The talks, led by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, highlighted deep divisions between the two sides. While both countries struck a confident tone afterward, well, the lack of agreement has raised concerns as a fragile 2-week ceasefire continues. With major differences still unresolved, it is unclear whether further talks can prevent tensions from escalating again. Today, we're going to take a closer look at what happened during the talks and what it could mean moving forward. Joining us today is Professor Hossein Banai, Associate Professor of International Studies in the Hamilton Lugar School of Global and International Studies at Indiana University, Bloomington. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's wonderful to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Professor, what were the main issues discussed as far as we know, and why was it so difficult to reach an agreement?
Sure. The talks, and we should note, these were the first direct engagements at the diplomatic level between the U.S. and Iran at the highest level since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, and that includes the 2015 landmark nuclear agreement between the two sides that saw then John Kerry, Secretary of State, meet with Iran's foreign minister. These were even at a higher level, at the vice presidential level from the U.S. and obviously the Speaker of Parliament, as you set up, they really exposed divisions on three core issues: Iran's nuclear program, the control of the Strait of Hormuz, and the ongoing Israeli campaign against Hezbollah, an Iranian proxy in southern Lebanon. On the nuclear front, Iran, it's very clear, really wanted its right to enrichment be recognized by the U.S., and the U.S. was insisting that it will never allow any such right, recognition of such right, because that would be tantamount to agreeing that Iran has a right to build a nuclear weapon down the road. On the Strait, Iran floated the idea of charging transit fees to allow ships through, while the U.S. said that any such tolls would be illegal. And Iran also asked for the release of $6 billion in frozen Iranian assets, which the U.S. did not budge on as well. Add to this the big ask that Israeli attacks on Hezbollah cease, and that was obviously a non-starter as well for the U.S. delegation. So that's why the talks didn't go anywhere despite 21 hours of negotiations.
I see. And so in terms of President Trump, he said that the outcome of these talks may not matter because the U.S. has, he's said it several times, already achieved its goals. So how should we kind of break down that statement, or he said it a couple times already, that the U.S. has achieved its objectives?
Well, the president, frankly, has been on all sides of this. On the one hand, complaining that things are not moving fast enough, that the Iranians are dragging their foot on negotiations. And on the other hand, he's also said that we've already won and basically mission has been accomplished. On other days, he says nothing, unless complete unconditional surrender will be acceptable to him. So he's been all over. And the best way I think we can kind of interpret this is as a kind of a pressure tactic by him to really let the Iranians know that, even though the U.S. feels like militarily they have already achieved their goals, they nevertheless are watching Iran and don't want it to proceed in any manner that would later on require American military attack again. So he's reframing it in that particular way, but, he could change his tune again tomorrow.
Right. And as we talk about this tentative ceasefire, is it holding right now? Is it still very fragile? Are there incursions by either side?
It is very fragile. There have been, minor exchanges of fire here and there. I see reports all the time. Obviously, the Israeli campaign in southern Lebanon is up for dispute as to whether it was ever part of a ceasefire deal or not. The Iranians believe it was. The Israelis don't think they were subject to that. But, ceasefires of this magnitude, when there has been a sustained period of bombardment, are going to be very tough to enforce in any meaningful sense. And basically, I think what anyone has to look for here is if there's any major military attack by either U.S. or Israel against Iranian leaders or major targets inside Iran. And as long as that's not happening, I think both sides are happy to call it a ceasefire.
I see. And obviously tensions remain high. So how do ongoing military pressures affect these diplomatic talks? Because I'm going to assume that, with the back channels or whether there are direct talks once again, that there is some sort of conversation going on.
There are. And I think this is basically, the battlefield part of this and the negotiating table are the two sides of the same coin. They're going to be reinforcing one another. Israel's hit more than 200 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in the 24-hour period alone. Obviously, the U.S. Navy has now pushed its guided missile destroyers through the Strait of Hormuz and back a couple of times, and the Iranians have kind of just watched it and not done much in that respect. But that's clearly a show of force by the United States. So the military is there to basically send a signal that the Iranians are being coerced into a negotiation on the terms that the U.S. wants, and attacks can resume at any time. And obviously, there's an asymmetry here between capabilities between Iran and the United States.
And I'm very curious because you mentioned the transit fees of ships, vessels that go through the Strait of Hormuz. So right now, as we speak, is everything at a standstill? Has that all ceased in terms of any movement of the vessels, or are they letting vessels pass through? What's going on?
But initially, up until the talks in Pakistan, vessels were being passed through, but there were reports that Iran was charging transit fees.
Right.
And that became a subject of negotiations. And as the negotiations were happening, the U.S. destroyers that I just mentioned went through that Strait of Hormuz. And since then, there have been the traffic of shipping has substantially come down. And now the U.S. has announced a blockade. So that blockade starting on Monday at 10 a.m. means that shipping is going to be tightly controlled by the U.S. Navy in and out of the Strait of Hormuz.
I see. And in terms of this conflict, obviously, it's not just the U.S. and Iran and Israel. This is affecting the entire world. And so how do you think that this might unfold? Because right now we're talking about, obviously, the conflict itself, but we're talking about the oil, energy. We're talking about the price of almost everything going up right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think the ripple effects economically are going to be huge. Many of the countries that are dependent on, shipment of oil, especially these are countries to the east of Iran.
Yes.
So from South Asia to Southeast Asia to the Far East are feeling the pinch of those oil reserves really being almost completely exhausted, and the prices are going up. You're going to see those prices felt across many different industries because transportation costs are going to be much higher. Jet fuel is going to be much higher.
Sure.
So you're going to see an increase in the price tag across a range of goods and commodities.
Absolutely. And for a wrap-up question today, Professor, with no agreement so far, what should we be watching for next?
The blockade, how tightly it's going to be enforced by the U.S. It starts on 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow morning. That should send the price of oil rather high. The fate of the ceasefire, whether the 2-week deadline is going to collapse before the end of the 2 weeks or not because of the blockade. We should also look at Iran's internal calculus, whether there's going to be changes in leadership approaches toward the U.S. I think there are some factions who would want greater diplomatic leverage. There are those who think that Iran should concede more. And then the energy markets, what volatility of the prices are going to look like in the middle of all this.
Yes. Well, we will keep on top of the story. But thank you so much for coming on air with us and explaining the latest between the U.S. and Iran and the talks that were had. Thank you, Professor. Take care.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
This was Professor Hussein Banai, and we talked about what happened in Pakistan. Marathon negotiations, but no deal. So, of course, the biggest story still in the world. We will continue to follow this, and I'll be back with your updated traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan. Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic update. It is now 8:15. Here it is. An accident that's being reported on 중앙대로 from Yangjong intersection to Songgong three-way intersection, right past that intersection, the Yangjong intersection. Also congestion from from Manduk intersection to the Nama Expressway, Tokchon ramp, and it's backed up on Gwanmun-daero from Sujong Tunnel to Pier number 5. There's also congestion on Daedong Hwamyeong Bridge on the top portion going towards the Anmak ramp. It's currently 17 degrees here in Busan under partially cloudy skies. It's going to go up to 21 today. Across the nation, though, a balmy, almost early summer-like day, very warm. Some areas are going to go up to 26 degrees today. But there's still a large temperature gap in the inland areas, so please take care of your health. This was your traffic and weather. This is Intentions by Justin Bieber featuring Quavo.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen, cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Shout out to your mom and dad for making you. Standing ovation, they did a great job raising you. When I create, you're my muse. The kind of smile that makes the news. Can't nobody throw shade on your name in these streets. Triple threat, you a boss, you a bank, you a beast. You make it easy to choose. You got a mean touch, I can't refuse. No, I can't refuse it. Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen, cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Already passed, you don't need no approval. Good everywhere, don't worry about no refusal. Second to none, you got the upper hand now. Don't need a sponsor, no, you're the brand now. You're my rock, my Colorado. Got that ring, just like Toronto. Love you now, a little more tomorrow. That's how I feel. Act like you know that you are. Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen, cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions.
No cap, no pretending, you don't need mentions. Got them saying goals, they don't wanna be independent. Tell them to mind your business, we in our feelings. It's 50% attention, we need commitment. We gotta both admit it. It's funny, we both listen. It's a blessing, cause we both get it. You the best thing, and I don't need a witness. I'ma find me a ring and pray it's perfect fitted. Perfect.
Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Gorgeous, make them drop dead, you a killer. Shower you with all my attention. I will. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Stay in the kitchen, cooking up, cut your own bread. Heart full of equity, you're an asset. Make sure that you don't need no mentions. Yeah, these are my only intentions. That's all I plan to do.
It's time for Wagga Wagga Tea Time. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Yes. And I wish we could continue with this like airy, nice, vibe. But yeah, first story. Okay. Industrial accident at a Samlip Bakery factory. And I have to say, deja vu.
Again? Right.
Yeah.
So the police are investigating a case where 2 factory workers lost their fingers at the Samlip Siwa factory located in Siheung City. So according to the police report, the accident happened 19 minutes past midnight on Friday on the hamburger bun machine. So these workers were switching out the sensors on the conveyor belt. So these were mechanics. They were dispatched for the fixing after a malfunctioning report. The first worker lost his middle and ring finger. The second worker, his thumb.
Oh, gosh. Once again, as we both said, this factory has seen multiple safety accidents before.
Right. So this exact site, the Samlip Siwa factory, is where a worker in her 50s died when she was stuck in a machine.
Right.
And then a large fire injured 3 people. And now this is a third accident involving human casualties in just a span of a year. And we say the Samlip Siwa factory, but that company used to be known as SPC Samlip, but it changed its name last month because the former SPC group had 2 other fatal accidents involving bakery workers in 2022 and then again in 2023. So that led to SPC Group launching a separate holdings company and changing its business structure after, well, public opinion really soured.
Right.
And of course, they own the biggest bakery franchise in the country. And after that particular fatal accident last May, President Lee Jae-myung actually went to the Siwa factory in person, summoned SPC chairman Heo Young-in and admonished him in person in front of all the cameras. So back then, Heo pledged, these bone grinding, these changes. And well, even after the name change and pledges for safety, yet another accident happened. And now internet comments have been kind of piling online, criticizing repeated safety accidents.
Right, because you can change your name, but if you don't change your practices,
same things keep happening.
Yes. All right, on to our next story. U.S. First Lady Melania Trump in the news gave an unexpected press conference, right? And this was about her relationship with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So we got to delve into this story.
Right. In a very out-of-the-blue press conference last week, the American First Lady denied connections to Jeffrey Epstein. So this was a very official press conference at the White House. Just to give you kind of an explanation of the optics of visual, she was standing to the backdrop of 2 American flags at a podium bearing the seal of the President of the United States. But then her first words out of her mouth, the claims linking herself to Jeffrey Epstein need to end today.
Right.
So she said these included claims that Epstein allegedly introduced she and Donald Trump, and she called these claims, quote, mean-spirited attempts to defame her reputation. So Melania Trump also denied the claims that she was a victim of Epstein. She said she only crossed paths with the late sex offender briefly in 2000. She also denied knowing Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Epstein's longtime girlfriend and co-conspirator. She's currently serving a prison sentence.
Right.
And these allegations came because in the barrage of emails that were released, there's an email between her and Maxwell about Maxwell potentially visiting her and some fashion comments.
Right. And so once again, this press conference kind of came out of nowhere.
Right.
What prompted this?
Right, because the reason that this was such a surprise press conference was that her office didn't give word that she would be making a statement on Epstein. And the White House didn't share the topic when they put the press conference on the books earlier.
Okay.
Even her husband, U.S. President Donald Trump, said he didn't know what she was going to be saying ahead of time.
Interesting. Well, whatever the intention may have been, the response, at best mixed, to be, not great.
Well, why was the biggest question? Because, for one, we're talking about this again. Because the Epstein files and, of course, President Trump's alleged links to Jeffrey Epstein, they've been weighing down on the administration for weeks, months.
Right.
But the press and the public, for various reasons, they've been off this topic for the past month and a half because, well, we've been focusing on the war in Iran.
Right.
But then the First Lady's very official, very seemingly random press conference puts the topic at front and center again.
Sure.
Especially because you don't see Melania Trump in such public settings often, let alone in speaking settings. So the very distinct choice to have this be one of the very few public statements she gives directly is, well, interesting, let's just say.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's move on. Up next, let's talk about BTS launched its Arirang World Tour. They kicked it off in Goyang over the weekend, and I'm sure many people saw on their social media feeds all the rain, the performance. However, this story is not about them per se, but about a major theft.
Right, because some guy made off with 500 admission wristbands on day 2 of the BTS concert in Goyang.
Okay.
So the police received a report at around 3:20 p.m. that this man just went up and grabbed the wristbands from the ticket booth at Goyang Stadium, and they have been tracking the suspect.
Okay.
So what makes this just not a simple theft is that if you've ever been to any K-pop concerts or festivals globally, the wristbands are required for entry to the venue.
Right.
So at these concerts, you bring your ticket with ID. I hear there's a very stringent ID checking process to acquire said wristband. And that is the final confirmation that lets you into the stadium.
Right.
And 500.
That's a lot.
That is a significant number.
Yes, and that makes things very complicated once again. So can you explain further?
Right, because, and this is an if. So let's just play some hypothetical. So if the wristbands were to make it onto a secondhand platform, start to be sold around the stadium as scalp tickets, then say I buy it, and then, well, I didn't officially buy for the ticket, but if I have the wristband, then I could potentially get into the stadium.
Right.
Of course, guards do check the ticket and the wristband and they compare the names and the information. But if there are thousands of fans milling in 10 minutes before its show starts, they might not be so stringent.
Yes.
And then the whole administrative issue, because then the organizers had to nullify the serial numbers on those 500 wristbands, on the stolen ones, and issue other methods of verification. There could be also chaos if 2 people go to the same seat. No, this is mine. This is mine. And they have the same wristband. Right. Of course, the overall security issue of how could someone up and grab the wristbands and run away? And again, these are not cheap tickets. Have you seen the tickets of K-pop concerts recently? They are
500 of them.
Exactly. And then a lot of fans, I know they traveled internationally, domestically. So yeah.
Okay. Well, for our final story, which is very much linked to our text topic, some professors are sending their students outside for a full springtime assignment.
Right. So speaking of random assignments that you've received, I mean, do you have fun with your students?
I do.
I'm not just like teasing them, mocking them relentlessly, but like what kind of assignments do you give? Because
for me, I have actually taken, when I had a very small class, because half the class they had to go to some sort of seminar that they had to go to, so I only had half the class with me. I've actually taken my entire class, so it was like, 15 people, out for coffee and bang, and they were very happy at that class.
교수님.
It wasn't like but they were like really, really happy just to be out. But my rule was try to speak English.
I see.
Right. While we were sitting in the cafe, and they tried.
If you are kind of a language class, you definitely do have leeway to like freedom. So I was a humanities. I was in international studies such a long time ago. And then in a nice day like this, we had a seminar class. Like, can we have class outside? So we go sit under a cherry blossom tree and talk about, I don't know, Orientalism. But what if you're an engineering student? Then how might you romanticize your class? Do you want to romanticize your class?
Are you calculating how the cherry blossoms are
at
falling?
What, the 9.18 meters per second and all of that? All right, so let's go to Chungbuk National University. Engineering chemistry professor Kang Dong-woo gave his students this assignment. Go outside, look at cherry blossoms, take some pictures, and submit them.
Submit them.
That was his assignment.
Okay.
So Professor Kang explained, and this is from an engineering professor to his engineering students, to improve the dried up emotions and sensitivity of engineering students.
Dried up emotions.
His words. 메마른 감성.
Okay.
Adding that, can't we take off one day from studying in this spring and enjoy the season. So one of the students posted this on social media and it's gone viral.
Right.
That's the reason we're talking about this. So Professor Kang said that he's given this assignment to students for the past 6 years.
Yes.
So it's now just getting viral and every single one of his students turned in the assignment.
I would.
Yeah, and then he said, I'm not judging them. This is not a photography contest,
Right.
people. And but he's like, if one person tried like particularly hard,
Yes.
he's like, I might give him a coffee coupon. But then I don't know. Some people are just willing to be unhappy about everything
Well,
because
what'd they
some
say?
people are criticizing the professor. He's just trying to not lesson plan.
What?
Like, dude,
Really?
no. And he said, no, this is an assignment. I'm not like giving time during class for the students to go out because he just wants the students to stop and smell the roses or
Yes.
the cherry blossoms and for everyone to enjoy and look around.
Right. And I believe he's not the only one who's done this.
Right. So now we go to Hongik University. The integrated design engineering professor, Meng Sang-jin, also said that he's encouraging students to go out, see the cherry blossoms to, again, improve the sensitivity and emotions that engineering students might relatively lack. So is that true, engineers? Tell me.
I don't know.
Why are your professors dissing on you?
Okay.
So for his students, this is interesting. For those who upload pictures of cherry blossoms, they get one free pass. They can miss a class.
Oh.
I know.
That's nice.
I know, right? So he said so far the deadline isn't even near yet.
Right.
40 out of 60 students participated. And, one person like added in the email, I got a chance to go look at the flowers thanks to you.
Oh, that's really
Yeah,
sweet.
because it is midterm season.
Oh, the cherry blossoms are gone. I should have done that for my English
it's like
class today.
like azalea season. So any flowers, any like outdoorsy stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Can we, PD님, look at me. If we give you pictures of
Attention.
cherry blossoms, can I miss a day of work? Okay,
No?
I gotta know.
She straight up said no.
I got a resounding. I got a finger too.
No. The finger wagging. No. Well, thank you for bringing us some great stories and also this one to end it on for Wagger Wagger. And we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Go look at some cherry blossoms.
Yay. And speaking of blossoms, here's Love Blossom by K-Will.
입안에서 바람 맛이 달콤한 아침 새하얀 이불 위로 닿는 햇살이 좋아 설레는 전화벨 소리 그대인가요 설탕 한 스푼 담긴 소리 Hello Hello 이 거리 위에 나의 가슴 속에 왜 이리나 들뜨나 몰라 팝콘 같은 꽃잎이 저 높이 날아요 사랑한단 말하면 난 정말 녹아요 오늘 같은 바람이 불면 하루 종일 미치겠어 그대가 아른아른거려서 향기로운 봄바람이 나풀거리고 두 볼에 앉은 햇살마저 완벽한걸요 새하얗게 춤을 추는 꽃잎을 보면 그대와 둘이 걷다 보면 너 아하 이 거리 위에 우리들 사이에 설레임이 피어올라요 팝콘 같은 꽃잎이 저 높이 날아요 사랑한단 말하면 난 정말 녹아요 오늘 같은 바람이 불면 하루 종일 미치겠어 그대가 아른아른거려서 꿈에서 봤던 거리가 여기인가요 그대와 나란히 걷는 모든 곳이 아름다워
What a great song for a Monday morning. I want to read some of your messages because I asked you today if you have had any school projects or assignments that you really remember, or maybe your kids have some assignments and you're like, oh, that's really interesting. So first up, we have Leah-님 who says, it was called 탐구생활. And then I was asking our producer and like Jian off here, what is that? And then basically it's like a deep dive into certain topics. And it's apparently she did it during summer and winter vacation. And she writes that my mom didn't really care about assignments, so I had a hard time figuring everything out by myself. Ooh. Okay, and then I guess that is a thing because Hwang 작가님 also talking about their memories of also doing 탐구 생활. But then in terms of their experience, it was all about like real metugis out there, crickets and critters out there. So, I guess it really does depend if it was a science based 탐구 생활 or not. Leslie also says when she was in 5th grade, the governor was scheduled to come visit their elementary school, and her music teacher decided that the 5th graders would sing for him. So they had to learn 2 songs to serenade the governor. So they had to dress up and all that. So that is very memorable. One project I remember, I was helping my oldest kid. His project in school, it was here in Korea, was to dress up as a famous person from the past. It was like a history lesson. And he, for some reason, I think it was because we had a book, a little short story book about Abraham Lincoln, and he insisted he wanted to go to school dressed as Abraham Lincoln. And so we helped him make the little top hat that he's very famous for, and we put him in a little suit and made him look like Abraham Lincoln. And I remember the most difficult part was making that beard. Right, because he was in 2nd grade. So we had some cotton and we were trying to color it with black marker. It was a huge mess, but he was so proud of himself, and I have photos. But of course, I'm not going to shame him. But yes, that was a project that I will remember. And now we're going to turn to Jian for News in Depth. It is now time for News in Depth. Jian is back in the studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, so we are going to begin with what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz,
Right.
because we've talked about this throughout the morning, but the U.S. is now moving to block ships at sea in this area. So we need details. What exactly is happening?
That's right. In a major escalation, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. Navy will begin procedures to block all vessels entering or leaving the Strait of Hormuz starting at 10 a.m. Monday local time. This is being described as a counter-blockade against Iran. In other words, rather than simply responding to Iran's threats, the U.S. is now attempting to take control over the strait itself and cut off Iran's oil exports entirely.
That's right. So once again, Monday, 10 a.m. Local time, the U.S. time, but in Korea time, that would be tonight at 11 p.m. That's when it goes into effect. So this is directly tied to the breakdown in negotiations between the two sides.
Exactly. This move came right after overnight ceasefire talks between the U.S. and Iran collapsed without a deal.
Right.
Trump said that while most issues were close to agreement, the key issue, Iran's nuclear program, remained unresolved. He also accused Iran of effectively extorting the global community by threatening to disrupt shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, and how far is the U.S. willing to go with this? Do we know?
Quite far, actually, based on his statements. Trump said the U.S. Navy has been ordered to intercept any vessels that have paid what he called illegal transit fees to Iran.
Okay.
He also warned that such ships would not be guaranteed safe passage in international waters. In addition, the U.S. has already begun mine-clearing operations in the strait, deploying naval destroyers to remove suspected Iranian sea mines.
Right. Right. And, this does sound very aggressive, this posture by the U.S. and, of course, President Trump. So what is the strategic goal here?
The goal appears to be multi-layered. First, to completely block Iran's oil exports and put further pressure on its already weakened economy. Second, to indirectly pressure countries like China and India, which import Iranian oil, as well as Russia and others that may be supporting Iran.
I see.
The strategy is similar to past U.S. actions, such as efforts to cut off Venezuela's oil exports before attempting regime change.
Right. So what does this mean for the risk of actual conflict?
The risk is now significantly higher, with both Iran and the U.S. effectively trying to control the same strategic waterway. The situation is approaching a direct military standoff.
Okay.
Trump even warned that if Iranian forces fire on U.S. or civilian vessels, they would face overwhelming retaliation. In short, this is no longer just about restricted access or selective control. It's a full-scale power struggle over one of the world's most critical energy routes.
Yes.
And that raises the possibility that what began as an economic and diplomatic conflict could quickly escalate into a direct military confrontation.
Right. So this is obviously not just a regional issue. It has already had and will continue to have global ripple effects.
Exactly. This is no longer just about a military standoff in one region. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical global energy route with roughly 20% of the world's oil and LNG passing through it.
Right.
If the blockade is fully enforced, it could push global oil prices higher again and add inflationary pressure across major economies. That, in turn, could impact everything from transportation costs to food prices.
Right. So thanks for reporting on this. And for our waivers out there, tomorrow we do have a special interview planned that's going to focus specifically on this issue. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. For now, let's switch gears. We're going to turn to space now. The astronauts have just returned from a historic lunar mission.
Yes, the crew of NASA's Artemis 2 mission has returned safely after completing humanity's first near-lunar flight in 53 years. They spent about 10 days in space and appeared publicly just one day after returning, showing remarkable energy and strong team unity. What stood out immediately was their chant, integrity. It's not just a call sign of their spacecraft, but also a word that represents unity, consistency, and wholeness, which perfectly reflects their mission and teamwork.
So sounds like a very symbolic message.
Yes.
How did the crew describe their experience?
Commander Reed Wiseman emphasized the bond between the crew, saying they are now forever connected by what they experienced together. He noted that no one else on Earth could fully understand what the four of them went through.
Yes.
Mission specialist Christina Koch also delivered a powerful message. She described the crew as people who move forward with a shared purpose, something quietly sacrifice for one another and take responsibility together. And perhaps most strikingly, she added that this mission made her realize something new, that Earth itself is a crew.
Yes.
That line drew a huge emotional response from the audience and captured a deeper meaning of the mission.
Yes. So I love that we're able to focus on the astronauts themselves. And I know in the Korean media, they've been pronouncing her name Christina Koch, but actually on the NASA government site, it's Christina Cook. Like cook 요리하다. Just so we know, in English, right? So did they share anything about what it felt like to return?
Yes, actually very vividly. Wiseman described how just 24 hours earlier, Earth looked incredibly small from space while they were traveling at extreme speeds. But upon returning, he said something very human.
Okay.
That while going into deep space may seem like the greatest dream, when you're actually out there, all you want is to come back to your family and friends. He concluded by saying that being human and living on Earth is something truly special.
That's true, and that puts things into perspective, I think, right? So how is this mission being viewed in terms of future space exploration?
NASA leadership made it clear that this is just the beginning. The Artemis 2 mission is seen as the opening chapter of humanity's return to the moon.
Right.
NASA Administrator Gerard Isaacman even remarked that although the crew once hoped the mission would be surpassed by greater achievements, Artemis 2 will be remembered for a very long time. He also confirmed that preparations for Artemis 3 are already underway, which will aim to land humans on the moon.
Right. So it does seem like, at least for Artemis, to really set the stage for what's to come in the future, right?
Yes, exactly. This mission is not just about going to the moon. It's about restarting a long pause in deep space exploration. And interestingly, the return ceremony took place on the anniversary of the Apollo 13 launch, a mission famously remembered for the phrase, "Houston, we have a problem."
Oh, the infamous line, of course.
Yes.
How can we forget? But thank you so much for covering this story and all the stories. And once again, for our listeners, we have a special interview regarding NASA. We're having a representative from NASA on air with us for our special interview coming up this week. If you're curious as to when, you're going to have to tune in to find out.
Yes.
And I also want to thank you so much for, coming in for news in depth for, the past several weeks. You've been doing double duty. I know it was tough, but we do appreciate all your efforts. So thank you so much, Jian.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. So that was our final news in depth. And of course, for those of you who are wondering, why are we saying goodbye to certain segments? Well, our 개편 new season is coming up soon, just in case you're wondering. And in terms of some additional news, we always have extra news for you. Last week, we covered the general elections in Hungary with its longtime Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. So Orban is a pro-Putin figure who also has U.S. President Donald Trump's friendship and support, was widely seen as a figure representing Europe's, right-wing, some may say far-right movement. Well, it's official now that Viktor Orban has been ousted after 16 years in power. So the prime minister conceded defeat and the opposition has secured a landslide victory with over 98% of the votes counted and a record number of people turning out for the elections. Once again, this is in Hungary. And by the way, Hungary has been a strong voice in the European Union against Ukraine. So this will certainly change the dynamics within Europe and in this conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And I have to say, because of what's been happening in Iran and the Middle East, I think many people, have, I wouldn't say forgotten, but it's been a little bit on the back burner, even in terms of the news. It's not in the front pages, but this conflict is still ongoing. So just wanted to, magnify that, saying that there are other conflicts going on around the world. And it is Monday. I know that sometimes Monday, it's hard to get, going. However, I hope that the team here at Morning Wave in Busan, that we've been able to help you, nudge you along on this Monday morning. And I want to give a credit where credit's due. Our show is produced by Cho Ye-ji. We have our writers, Haley Seo, Soo Kim, and I'm your host, Catherine. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. And we were talking about the moon earlier. Not exactly the moon, but what about this for our final song? Moon River by Barry Manilow with Andy Williams. To take us out for Monday morning, have a beautiful Monday. See you back tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Day of the week be a good day.